Hello, everybody, and welcome to I don't know, I guess we're just going to call it Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
Um, you know, our podcast, if you don't listen to it, it's on all the podcasty things, but we haven't been doing as much there, but we've been starting to do film reviews. But anyways, today's episode is going to be a recap on our most recent ghost hunt at Madison Seminary. So now if you have not seen the episode, go watch it. That'll be up before this. I'm probably going to release them together. So if you've been following our channel for a while, we usually do have a podcast that goes with the ghost hunt.
Yeah.
Usually we talk about the ghost hunt before we review anything, but this time we decided a little bit different. We've already went over the evidence that we've caught. So we're going to be kind of going over that, and I'm going to be injecting the evidence into this. So it's going to be almost like if you watch Ghost Hunters, for example, the reveal. Although the evidence is throughout the episode, but we don't really comment on this stuff because, again, a lot of it we didn't hear or we do hear, and we're we don't know what that was, but we think we heard something.
Yeah.
So this is going to be us kind of looking a little more in depth to that. Yeah. So again, go check that episode first, though, because this is meant to be watched or listened to after that episode. Or if you don't want to watch people ghost hunt and just want to see what we caught, then I guess then don't go and just listen to this. So yeah, we have been to Madison Seminary first. I think it was actually our first episode of.
Yes.
Yeah, it was our first episode of Haunted Adventures, and I thought it was fun because usually I film a little specific intro for each one. We didn't get to in this one, so I actually used the old intro that we were doing for this one, just the one that I made a couple years ago when we did. I think it's mainly Madison. We filmed most of it in Madison. I think there's one or two shots from Mansfield. So one thing that was really cool about this place that was different than we were there last time is they really had a lot of the rooms decorated.
Yes. They put a lot of effort into kind of making the place look like it would have looked like back in the day. Because that is I know Adam, the guy who owns it, his team, because he does actually have a paranormal team. They do focus a lot on trying to recreate past things and trying to use themselves or the atmosphere as a trigger object. So he likes to do that, where he likes to set everything up so it looks like what it would have looked like when these people were living.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was really cool because almost every room this time was set dressed. Last time there was a couple.
Yeah.
But this time there was a lot. And I do know that a lot of the money that they get from people ghost hunting and their public tours and that goes to restoring this place and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it did seem like it was maybe in a little bit better condition than we went there before.
Yeah.
But one thing the place still does not have is heat. We of course we booked it a couple weeks in advance, so we didn't know what the weather was going to be like. It ended up being 4 degrees.
Yeah.
That night, and this building I think it might have been colder inside at times.
I think you're right.
It was horrifically cold, so we wanted to stay there later. We only ended up staying till it was 10:30 or 11. I think we left because we just could not bear it anymore. And we dressed warm, and there was just one space heater in the main lobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it was still a fun ghost hunt. It was just extremely painful. So I guess we'll kind of get into the evidence. One thing's cool is, we've talked about Isaac and other things, and he actually came with us on this. He didn't really speak much because this is his first ghost hunt.
Yeah.
So I don't really think he knew what to do, but it was kind of nice having a fresh perspective and stuff like that. And there's a couple times where I kind of handed the camera over to him. I think this is also the first time I've actually filmed anything besides these videos with the newer camera. So I don't know if you at home notice any difference there at all when you watch the episode, but yeah. So it's funny, a couple of things that we actually caught, and we'll be listening to it. What I'll probably do is I'll interject it directly from the video so you at home can hear it better, especially if you're watching the podcast. Now, it might be better to put headphones in for some of the stuff, if available, but I'll try and turn the volume up a little bit. Not so loud where it blasts you to another country. But yeah, so one of the first things that was going on was we were just taking a tour, kind of, because me and Kim had been there, but it had been years. And Isaac, of course, had never been there.
Right.
So we were kind of walking around, and this was the room that they think there might be a body.
Yeah, so they dug a hole in this room because they had gotten information from numerous sources, including psychic mediums, that there might be a body buried underneath this room. So they actually started digging. And so there's this big hole with this big wire or metal like fencing around it so you don't, yeet into the hole. So we went back there first off just to kind of check it out and stuff like that and see if we could get any activity while we were doing our walk around and stuff.
Right. So the first one was, I forget what it was that we heard. I'll play it here. What was that?
Was not me.
It wasn't you?
It was like a,
Oh!
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first one, and I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know, do you think you hear, like, any intelligible response? All I hear is, like that? I
Like,
don't know.
maybe like a no. I kind of hear like maybe a no.
I mean,
I don't know what
maybe.
we said before that. If we said anything that would.
I can,
Somebody's stomach.
well, yeah, because Kim kept thinking things were people's stomach, and I'm like, whose stomach sounds like that?
Into my pockets of many
I don't,
objects.
yeah. You
Okay.
just said dig into your pockets of many objects.
What was that? Was not me.
It wasn't you?
It was like a,
Oh!
like, yeah.
Yeah. So we thought it was like a howl, like a
Yeah.
oh.
Which we got
Okay.
a similar noise shortly after this, same room. No, it sounded like people hooting. Yeah.
That actually sounded like like a couple words.
I mean, what do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, see, listening to these things can be difficult because,
Yeah.
like, your mind kind of will hear things like, because you hear the, woo, woo. So it would be most people would think a 2-syllable word. Is it a word? I don't know. I mean, again, we're not saying for sure it is a ghost. It could have been something outside, but this place is kind of, there's nothing super close to this place where people would just be tromping around. Like, there is a road,
Yeah.
but no one would have their windows down in their right mind.
No, I mean, it was like 10 degrees outside.
And,
at the
like,
time.
there's no houses, I don't think, like, real nearby where you'd be hearing that.
No.
And there's one floor that's a couple floors up that there is, like, a thing that makes a noise, but you cannot hear that at all in the basement. So I don't know what we think that is.
I don't know.
I don't really
Like a
know
hoot
either.
and a holler or something.
Yeah. I mean, some people might hear something like help me, or hello, like, I don't know for sure, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a weird sounding noise. And that was the main thing that we caught, I feel like, is strange noises.
Yeah.
So let's see, what do we have? Oh, this one is really weird because no one else could hear this, but I was wearing noise-canceling headphones basically the whole time. And I kept hearing, there's multiple times, but I kept hearing like what sounded like whispers, and I'm like, is it my mind playing tricks on me? Well, this time, I think we definitively caught what I was hearing. Bro, it's really weird, like, I'm really curious to listen to this back because I just, like, feel like I keep hearing whispering in my headset, and it's weird. It's really creepy sounding. It almost sounds like when you watch like a horror movie and there's like alien interference.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I have no idea what it might be saying, but this one does sound like it's words, but I can't understand it.
What I kept hearing, and I mean, this is up to interpretation, but I hear, and again, it sounds like a weird, like staticky, weird alien kind of voice, but it sounds like it says, hello, can you hear me?
I mean, okay, the hello I can see, but the can you hear me? I think I can definitely hear that. Yeah, I mean, I think I at least definitely agree with the can you hear me part because it sounds like, because the first part's like, whew, but then it really does sound like someone goes, can you hear me? Like
Yeah.
whispering that. Weird. Well, apparently we could.
Maybe like an uh-oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, it is so faint.
Wow.
And again, I recommend if possible to listen to this with headphones
Yeah.
on. Because I could definitely hear it a little bit clearer when I was at home listening to this with headphones. So that one is a creepy one that we didn't hear at the time besides me with the headphones. And I implore you, like, if you're ghost hunting and you're able to, if you have a camera that has instant feedback, or if you have a recorder that lets you hear it, it's a cool thing to do because you really get to hear things around you,
Yeah.
like things you might not hear with your own ears, and it kind of gives you. It's a little bit easier to go over evidence in the future.
Yeah. And also, if you are getting responses back, you can ask your questions accordingly. If you
Yes.
think that you heard somebody say something, you can start kind of like a conversation with them because you heard them.
Right, exactly. Where's kind of going with footage, and yeah, I mean, this place is just really cool and creepy. Yeah, this one of my favorite rooms they had decorated was the office, like even the receipts that they had.
Yeah, that was neat that they had the little old timey
Yeah,
thing there.
and like the picture on the wall and stuff. And the place does have running electricity. There's electricity throughout it, just no heat. Except in the bathroom. That was our one solace. There's a heater inside the bathroom. But man, the creepy baby dolls. It's funny, there's a few things that I didn't notice. This actually creeped me out watching it back, and I'm not going to insert footage because you'll see it in the thing. But when I walked into there, they have like a full-size kid, like he's like... And when I watched it, like on the footage, because I pan by it pretty quick, and it kind of just like freaked me out for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. Then I'm like, oh, it's just a baby doll.
Just the baby doll.
But I didn't even see that thing when we were there ghost hunting. Let's see. Oh yeah, we did have the REM pod. So in the video, and I kind of put notes in the video, but we kept having the REM pod kind of freaking out, and we weren't sure what it was doing, but it was signifying a temperature change. Specifically, that it was getting warmer. Which God knows I didn't feel that.
Yeah, that's weird because usually it like gets colder if there's a spirit around.
And it happened to 2 different rooms.
Yeah.
Because I guess it gets red and it screams if it's getting warmer, and it goes blue and it screams if it's getting colder. And it was turning red and it was screaming, so that means that it was detecting, and I don't know, I couldn't find what it looks for, like how much of a temperature change, like if it's 5 degrees, I would assume it's more than 1, because very naturally the temperature is going to fluctuate a couple degrees here and there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is interesting. We didn't really have the REM pod. I don't think we had it go off normally, like the field, the EMF field.
We had a couple times where it did like a few little odd things, but it wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, I think it was just it being odd, because we
Yeah.
noticed when we first turned it on, it likes to scream for a while, and then it shuts its mouth. So that was interesting, that kept happening. But man, the temperature thing, it just squeals. And it's like, okay, we get it, the temperature went off. What was this one? Let's see. Can you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a tap back.
I don't think this was we get a tap later, we get a knock. But this doesn't sound like a tap. It sounds like an EVP. So it's 2 syllables. And again, it's so hard. Yeah. Well, I mean, and again, I try not to think too much into it, but maybe, I mean, maybe it was.
Maybe it was maybe.
Because then later on in that same room, we do get a knock, and this is the knock.
Okay.
Can you make a knock on the wall or something like this?
Yeah.
It's light, but it was in a different room. And this is about a minute or 2 after.
Can you do that again?
You heard that?
Yes.
Almost sounds like a chair being dragged.
That's what first time I listened to it, I heard like a chair moving.
So, I don't know. Those 2, like I said, I think they are movement or knocking. I don't think that's voices at all. But I do think that other one, it sounds like some kind of EVP. It's just,
Yeah.
kind of garbled. One thing we didn't really get much was we didn't get any good responses from the ghost box here.
No, really didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I will say for the short amount of time we were there, like there was a fair amount of like noises and like things like this, like that creepy whispering. And there's one that's coming up, I think, that is one of the creepier things we've ever caught.
Yeah. Especially for this place. I don't think we've ever caught something like this here.
Yeah, and it's towards the end, so we'll be getting to it here, not too shortly, but it definitely kind of freaked me out a little bit. Let's see, what was the next? And we did some isolation sessions. And now I cut it from the video because we pretty much debunked it. But when Kim was doing her isolation session, me and Isaac kept hearing what we thought was a scream. Well, I forgot from last time we were there. There's this. So if you go there, know this. There is this because I cut the whole part out of this video, so we don't even mention it. But there is like this ventilation fan. I think it's on the first or second floor.
Yeah.
That just constantly squeals, and from a distance, it sounds like someone screaming. And so we were kind of freaking out. We're like, we just kept hearing this screaming off in the distance. We're like, what is this? And we found out that it was just more than likely like a rusty fan.
Yeah.
So that's not in the video. Actually, no. I think the creepy thing's actually no. It's actually right here. So never mind.
Okay.
You don't have to wait very long, people at home.
Yay.
So basically, Isaac was doing, and again, it's in the video if you want more context, but Isaac was doing his isolation session. So he was listening to the spirit box, and then my recorder caught this.
So creepy.
It legit sounds like a witch cackle.
Yeah, like a witch cackle.
Yeah, it sounds like someone going, like, what?
it's
It's so creepy, and like no one heard this at the time.
No, not at all.
And it wasn't a noise that came from the box because Isaac had no reaction to it at all, and like you couldn't really make out much from the box with the microphone.
Yeah.
Especially not a witch cackle. So that was a creepy one. Yeah, just catching the laugh, and then probably the most eventful thing we had happen that night, like in real time, was in Sarah's room.
Yeah. So we went into Sarah's room and we actually had quite a few things happen. The REM pod kept going off. She, and I will use quotes, answered a few questions. And there's a lot of speculation about what Sarah is. Some people don't believe that she is actually a child, which I tend to lean more towards, is that she is not a child.
Well, yeah, and then I mean, like, legitimately though. So that was like one of the big things, is because we had a REM pod. It didn't do anything. We had a cat ball on the floor, and then we had an EMF detector on the back of the rocking horse.
Yes.
And we're asking questions, and we weren't really getting any answers. And all of a sudden, the cat ball lit up, and we're like, "Oh, that's cool." And the cat ball didn't light up again. But then we started getting responses from the EMF reader.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty instantaneous after asking things, and like we asked the question, like, are you a little girl? And there was like no response. And then we said, are you inhuman? And then it like instantly lit up.
Yeah.
But then like we were kind of nervous, like we're asking like what, like him was asking like what she is, and I'm like, well, are you a good spirit? And then thankfully it did light up.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It could be lying to us.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, from what I think, and I totally forgot to I couldn't think of the name at the time when we were thinking of it, but I think that whoever Sarah is, I think that she might be like an imp.
An imp.
Imp, yeah, which is kind of like an inhuman spirit. It's kind of like an elf, or like that kind of leprechaun kind of like character kind of thing. And but I think she's, or they, whatever Sarah is maybe like something like maybe like Native American, something like that, like maybe that they would believe in, because I mean in that area I'm sure there was probably a lot of native tribes and such like that, especially being so close to like Lake Erie and stuff like that. So that's what I'm thinking that she is. But I mean, that's just my theory. I know there's a lot of different theories. Some people think that she's actually like a demon or something like that.
I doubt
which
that.
I
I feel
highly
like a
doubt.
lot of like places and like groups that say that are usually groups that are making YouTube videos, and they want me more dramatized. And again, maybe that's why our channel doesn't get as many views, but we don't talk. We don't make things up like that, and don't just say things just for the views.
And we know what a shuffleboard thing looks like.
Yeah, there was one of the ghost shows. There's a shuffleboard that's in like one of the first hallways you go to enter the main part of Madison. In one of the ghost shows, they said it was what, like a satanic symbol or something? Or...
Yeah. It was Yeah, it was not the latest version of Ghost Hunters, but it was the one where Grant actually came back and had a whole new team with him. It only lasted like 2 seasons or something, but they went to Madison Seminary, and one of the investigators saw, because if you're familiar with a shuffleboard, it's like a triangle
Right.
with,
Yeah. It's a little
little
yeah.
areas in it, and he said it was a satanic symbol.
Yeah. You can see it in the video. I don't point at it or any. I don't really focus
Yeah,
on
we
it at
walk
all.
over it a couple
But
times.
yeah, you'll probably see it if you watch when you watch the video. Yeah. I mean, I do think that more happened this time than the last time we went there.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
implore you to go watch that episode, just the first episode, because there's more in depth of what the hauntings are than this one. Because this one, the first time we filmed the tour guide.
Yes.
So we filmed her and she tells a lot of the stories. With this one, we just kind of get into giving our little tour and kind of just go straight into ghost hunting.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit more of just that, which we talk about things a little bit briefly. But if you want more of an in-depth one, that part one from a couple of years ago would be the one you want to go watch, and I will try and put the link to that in this video. But yeah, 'cause I mean, right away when we went down there, we heard we heard those knocking, or not the knocking, the like hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing too, we were saying like, could it have been from outside? But like both times, and even when I listen to the headphones, it sounds like, because the microphone's directional, it sounded like it was coming from within the building.
Yeah, it sounded like it was coming from the hallway.
Because my back was, well, that's the other thing, because I was using a shotgun mic for this, because a lot of times me and Kim use the lav mics, but I was using a shotgun mic, and it's very directional. Like, you don't hear much from what's behind you besides what's bouncing off walls. So for it to pick up these sounds so clearly, it's more than likely coming from the direction that the microphone was facing.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I was facing towards the in part of the building, not the outside, when we caught both of those. So that's why I do not believe it to be outside noise. Also, the walls of that place are pretty thick. I mean, it's a brick building, and even though it's, I guess it's abandoned. I mean, people own it, but it's not like it's people living there or anything anymore.
Right.
But like, there's no broken windows really or anything like that. Like, the place is well kept for what it is.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like that where it's so broken up and like noise comes in from the outside real easily. But yeah, I think that like overall, like I said, we got a fair amount of stuff for just being there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And we talked about it because we did end up going to I guess it's the attic. Next time, whenever we go there in the future, I don't know when that'll be, but I would like to spend more time up in that area. Like I said, by the time we went up there, it's the last room we went to. We were so cold. We were just like, okay, we aren't getting anything that we know of. We left, but that's where I caught that green mist.
Yeah.
And we talk about it in the video. So, at the end of the first episode, is what looks like a green mist, a green light that goes across the floor.
Yeah. Which
made no sense because we didn't turn our flashlights on or anything like that. It just, we didn't see it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
And then when my one friend / coworker went there with his buddies a couple weeks prior, he was actually seeing it with his eyes. He kept seeing a green light. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious, if you're watching this and you've been to Madison, have you ever seen a green light in the attic?
Yeah.
Because, we caught it on camera, and I know someone personally that went there that saw it. So, that would make me think that I'm sure we're not the only two people.
Right. I'd like to know, like, if other people have caught it, if they, like, know what it is, or, have some sort of, like, if you've experienced it, we want to know about it.
Yeah, for sure. Or just let us know your experience you've had in general. Also, let us know places you would like us to ghost hunt. We have a few places. We definitely want to get to Twin City Opera House this year. That's a pretty big one we want to do. That's a pretty popular place. We're hoping to get into Franklin Castle. While it is, because they finally have that opened up for ghost hunting. We'll either do a public, or we might have someone that'll help us kind of get in there, because it's very expensive for just 2 people to go to for like a private. But one way or another, we plan on making it to that. I would like to, if possible, do another public at Mansfield. Mansfield, another place that's just too expensive to do a private. But it's so big where you can do a public, and you can just kind of try and stay away from other people.
Yeah. And there's some places that are open that we didn't get to check out when we were there last time.
Okay.
And so I would really like to check out, like, they have an attic area that has recently, within the last couple years, been opened up to the public that is supposed to be very active. It's almost like it was like what would you call it? Like a rec room for the prisoners.
We got got to go in that.
Did we get to go in
Hmm.
there?
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
got
think
to,
we did.
yeah, because it's the footage of it. It's a weird, creepy area.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't think we were in there very long because.
there was a lot of people in there because I remember I
Oh
went back
yeah.
and there was like, I don't know, it was like a big old metal furnace or something up there, and I was like kind of seeing like what the hell's going on here. Yeah, it was a creepy room because that's where they had also like, I feel like that's where they held a lot of the prisoners when, because there's like an overflow for another one. They didn't know what
Yeah.
to do with him. They shoved him in there. Hmm.
Yeah. It was a rec center, and then it was also like a overflow area, and it was basically like a free for all in there.
Because that was all the way. That was in 2020. Last time we ghost
Yeah.
hunted there, I believe. Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
because we had to, well, people were supposed to wear masks. I remember because that was one of our first things. I remember we did like the little thing in the hotel where we talked about. That's an interesting episode. And we got a few interesting things there. A few interesting, I think, responses on the ghost box and stuff. I don't remember exactly, but I know that's one of our more popular haunted adventure episodes. Another place I'd really like to return to is oh man, we went there last year. The really beautiful house. I forget what it was called.
What, Gill House?
No, not Gale House.
Oh.
It was the one that was in PA. What was it called?
Oh, Greenville?
I think it was.
Greenville Manor?
Yeah, Greenville Manor.
With the funeral home?
Yeah, because it's
sign?
not that expensive, and we'd like to go with a smaller group. There's just so many people. Last time we went, it was hard to.
Yeah.
Because we were actually getting a lot of stuff when we first started, but then when we
Mhm.
joined up and there's so many people, like, because I mean, like, I don't know, if I'm a spirit, like, and there's like a ton of people all asking me questions and sitting around, like, I feel like I'd be less likely to communicate than if like
Yeah.
there was just 2 or 3 people. That's why we like to keep it to smaller groups. But some of these places are so expensive, you know, you kind of have to team up with another group. Yeah, there's just so many haunted. Ohio has so many haunted places, so that's what we're really known for. That we're known for having fake haunted houses and real haunted houses. That's
Yeah.
like
We have like the number one total amount of haunted
it's number 1 or
houses,
2. It's
haunted
a
attractions.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot, especially for all the bigger Ohio is. Um, but yeah. I mean, we definitely plan on going to more places. We also want to do more of just like your typical like outside places when the weather kind of gets nicer.
Yeah.
We haven't been to Gretchen's Lock in a few years,
No.
so
We want to try to go back to Indigo Lake and
oh
when it's not buggy.
yeah. Well, maybe we should do that one in the spring.
Yeah.
Because if we wait till summer again, oh my god, we got
Oh,
annihilated.
so gross.
Ugh, that was nasty. And I'd like to go to Beaver Marsh as well. So yeah, that might be a good place to do in spring before all the mosquitoes become alive because
Yeah.
that whole area is just mosquito heaven. But we had cool things happen to us at Beaver Marsh. Like we saw. Well, I don't remember if you were with us or not.
I was not with you because that's where you got that apparition.
Yeah, I mean we don't have like evidence of it because we were just walking back to the car.
Yeah.
And we saw this like glowing green thing, and my cousin swears up and down that like it basically like then came through her, like basically because I saw it disappear, and as soon as I was like, oh, where'd it go? And then like she screams, and it supposedly like basically like ran at her and went through her. So, and we've never really got to ghost hunt there again. Because we've tried, but it's just been so hellish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean Cuyahoga State Park, Cuyahoga Falls National Park has all the places. Even Blue Hen Falls is supposed to have an apparition there. We could check that place out. There's a lot. Everett Road Covered Bridge, which every time we go there, we at least get something weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like that place, if you want to talk about like Native American hauntings, that's like littered with it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also, the orphanage, the Gore Orphanage.
Gore Orphanage. Yeah, we like to actually try to go down there and
Go to the
see
road,
if
yeah.
we can hear the children screaming.
Yes. Yay! Because the orphanage is not there anymore. But
No,
the road, they're supposed to be like spooky.
Yeah, yeah. The road is supposedly supposed to be spooky. You're supposed to be able to hear children screaming,
My
which,
favorite.
I mean, it's a legend, but it's still kind of cool to check out and see if we can see anything. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I mean, again, back to Madison though, like I think this place is a really cool place. If you're gonna go, I probably would recommend more spring. Now you get a discount if you go in the winter, but I think that's ending soon. By the time this is up, they're probably booked.
Yeah.
Because I think in March is when it goes back up. But even so,
so.
I think it's like, what's the maximum price? Is it $500 or $600?
Something like that.
You can have up to 10 people though, and you have it. The one nice thing that they do is they let you have it for a real long time. Most places it's like 9 or 10 at night to 3 in the morning. This is like 5 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And usually, if you need something different, like if you want to come a little earlier, they'll usually accommodate.
Right. Or if you even want to come later, they'll accommodate you too. Just as long as they have somebody that can come in and get you in there.
Because he owns other places, Fairfield County Infirmary. That's my favorite I've been to. I guess I've only been to 2 that he owns. But I like that one more than Madison. That building is... it is terrifying to me. That place was scary. I don't know. Just the building. We didn't even really get that much, but it was scary.
It was weird.
It was just a weird building. But then there's also
Indiana State
Yep,
Sanitary.
that's the one that's huge. I want to go to that one. Don't know if that'll be this year. Maybe. Because it's like 6 buildings. It's all the buildings.
Yeah.
But there's one place that's in PA that's not that far. That's also like 6 buildings that Destination whatever went to.
Oh, that
Just in fear.
Oh, the Crescent.
Yeah, yeah.
Crescent State Sanitarium.
It's funny,
I believe
a coworker
it's
just recently sent me. She's like, "You should check this place out." I'm like, "It's on the list."
called.
So I want to go to that place. We want to go to all the places, right?
Yeah.
We need to plan it. But anyways, but he doesn't own Crescent, but he owns the one like she just talked about. There's a village that he owns.
Oh,
And that one looks really
yeah,
cool, but
what
it's
is it?
further.
Billy Creek.
Yes. And there might be one other one that he owns too. Maybe 2 more. I don't remember if he still does or not. But the Billy Creek one looks really cool because it is like a whole like old timey looking village.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just rent that whole little village out and have yourself a little ghost hunting party, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, what a fun idea for like a little birthday party. Just have like a little ghost hunt party. Just probably don't do these places when it's 4 degrees outside or worse because you're going to freeze. It's much better just to be hot because like what you just wear shorts and whatever, you're fine.
Yeah.
But like, oh my gosh, in the winter, like I couldn't have bundled up more. Like, oof.
Like,
we're shoving little like heat packs in our gloves.
Yeah. Like I almost regret I was going to bring one, but I have back in the pandemic, when we had to wear masks and stuff, I made a bunch of cloth masks.
It would have been a good idea to bring
And
them.
I almost brought one because I was like, oh, I'll wear it. It'll keep me warm. And I totally forgot it. And I should have because that was the only thing on my body that was like freezing was my nose. Like at one point I was like, is it still there?
That actually is, it's not a bad fun tip though. Like if you're going to a place like this and you are going in the winter, I'd maybe bring a mask because for one, like this place is probably fine, but some of them have like all kinds of things you might not want to be breathing in.
Yeah.
It stops from seeing breath in the winter, which can be thought of as ghosts, and it keeps your face warm.
Yeah.
So as much as like no one really likes wearing masks, especially after that, it's actually kind of good. Like I kind of enjoyed wearing them when we had to wait outside for like our fake haunted houses and stuff. It was like the only solace I had at a couple places. Like I wouldn't put it on for any other reason besides just to like warm my face. I'd like find it in my pocket. Like I think I even did that a couple times last year, just like finding anything just to keep my face warm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so again, if there's a place you want us to go, let us know. If you've been there, let us know what evidence you've got. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. Check out the podcast because we'll probably be continuing to do things like this, like recaps of the haunted places, and hopefully we get to more places than we did last year. Yeah, and if there's something else you'd like to see us do, especially in podcast form, besides just the movie reviews and that we're doing now in this, let us know. Because there for a while we were doing like
actual creeps and creatures.
Yeah, like stories, but none of them did well. Like maybe one, but the only ones that would do well was when we did like top 10 haunted places, or like when we would, well, not even when we talked like this one probably won't do very well either, but like when we would like do lists, like we did like how to ghost hunt. Those are the only ones that really got much traction. But all the other ones we did like Mothman, like Black Eyed Children had a little bit, but none of them really did well. So that's why we kind of stopped because like it took a lot of time to like research them and they're long format things. So it takes a little while to edit them and all of that. And like, if I'm being honest, like we don't do it for the money, but like I can't monetize the podcast if it's just not getting listens.
Right.
And so like, once we've made almost, oh my God, I think we've made almost 100 episodes, close, probably 60, 70 at least, and we're still not getting the traction, it kind of gets hard. So if you're a fan, just sharing it and giving us a review, so like, especially if like Apple Podcasts helps us get up there. And we also put them all in the video form as well, because I know some people like the video form, but some people for these long form videos where it's just literally us sitting and talking for a half hour plus, rather just listen to it on their commute.
Yeah.
So if you want to continue seeing that, that's the way to show us that you care and want to see it, is by doing those things. And we also have a Patreon. You can join that if you want to help support us directly that way. But thank you very much for listening and or watching. Make sure you're ringing that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And again, make sure you're just subscribing if it's a podcast, and you should get notified when the podcast platform of your choice pushes it out to you. Thank you very much, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.